today's show, we find out what it's like to lead from the sidelines.
It's pretty limited game day. You get a great appreciation for coaches and how hard it is to have a huge influence on game day.
Brodie Smith chats about his first game as stand-in skipper, and a draftee dissects his new role in the forward line. Hi everyone, welcome to the Optus Crows Show. I'm Alana Smith. Well, with the club committed to rejuvenating their playing list, this season has provided the perfect opportunity for young players to earn their AFL debut. One of the rising stars has been Andrew McPherson, who now has a string of appearances to his name since his first game in round 6. Having grown up in Port Adelaide, Macca still has the luxury of living at home with his parents. So we thought we'd pop in to see how the McPherson family have enjoyed watching their son achieve his lifelong dream.
McPherson, CBC in Adelaide and Port Districts.
I'm very grateful and very lucky to have my family close by and be living with them. So they've been huge in making things a bit easier for me, and that's been the case the whole way through.
Gone, great tackle from McPherson. So first game for Andy McPherson in the heart of Port Adelaide, playing for the Crows.
Andy's always been pretty keen on his football, and he's been prepared to work hard, and he's really enjoyed it. He's had a few challenges obviously over the last few years, but some great support from everyone around.
They used to be Port supporters, so he was age 2 and he would be able to rattle off all the players in the Port team, and he started playing at Port District when he was 4 years old, and then CBC, the school he went to, and then after that they were involved with Port Magpies, and then Port Magpies lost their juniors, so they went to Woodville West Torrens.
They've always loved their footy and have been really involved from day dot. So having Dad coach me through juniors and that was pretty awesome, and they're obviously really invested in me and my career, and they've made the journey a lot easier too. Enjoyable
Coach. I love coaching and coaching the boys and seeing all their development. I was probably always a bit harsher on him and just expected a bit more so the way he carried himself and the way he trained and everything. But yeah, he was good and set a good example. I think he'd like to think that he's sort of set me up for a career, but nah, I think it's just been more the support and the love that they've shown and given. On one hand, we're very fortunate, Andy being at home, so really feel for the moment at some of the other parents interstate that haven't been able to see their kids and grandkids even for a fair while. So we're very fortunate in that respect. Nixie and Adam Kelly had a Zoom meeting with the parents and also on their Facebook group. So yeah, I think some of them are dying to see their boys, especially the young ones in particular who have just moved interstate. So that's probably hard for them to get used to them not being there, let alone not being able to see them in any stage.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say off the back of Tom, he touched on it briefly, but obviously wouldn't have been here without some great support networks, and that starts with my family and with Joe. They've been awesome the whole way through, and obviously you boys made it an absolute pleasure coming into the club. They're obviously incredibly proud, and it was really special for me to have them there, obviously not in the flesh, but have them there for that special moment.
When Brodie Smith was drafted to the Crows 9 years ago, he didn't have any leadership aspirations, but that all changed when the veteran ruptured his ACL in 2017 and was given the chance to mentor the club's younger players. This year, Smith became one of the newest members of the leadership group before being chosen by his peers to captain the side against North Melbourne. We caught up with the 28-year-old to discuss his newfound responsibilities.
As a kid, if you told me I'd captain any footy club, I would have laughed in your face, and it would have been a dream come true. But to tell me that I would be captaining the Adelaide Footy Club, I probably would have told you to get stuffed, to be honest. So obviously a lot's changed. I've absolutely loved the footy club, and so happy that I got drafted here, even though I was a Port supporter. But yeah, just love the place to bits.
Gave it back to Smith. Long launch looks good. Fredman can't get there. It beats them all home.
The thing I've loved the most is our culture at the moment. Guys are loving coming to the footy club, which is the most important thing for me. And guys are coming in their day off, doing extra touch, trying to get better, doing weights, whatever it is. And for me, that just shows we're on the right path as a footy club. Dan Jackson's come on board and he's been huge in our leadership development. So obviously through the COVID period, there was no football to talk about, but we had weekly Zoom meetings about influential leaders, how they lead, whether it's a footy club or anything else, a workplace. And he's just given us a lot of little tools on how we can be good leaders and work together. And we've shared, as you say, Sloane and Tex, they've jumped onto those Zoom calls as well and been part of those, Dan Talia as well, about how they've gone about leadership over their career and just little ways you can improve. I've had a few roles this year, and or whether it's been, Will Hamill goes down in the first quarter and I got a half back, or something's happening on ground, I've got to play wing. I've played a bit of half forward. I've played in the middle as well. So I had the tag against St Kilda where I sort of went everywhere trying to disrupt what they were doing and help out as well. So I've done, besides coming out of the goal square, probably every role there is to do this year, which I don't mind. I like changing it up. I don't like getting stuck in the one position and being too vanilla.
Eagle of the opposition. I'm going to assess. Laid on, handed to Smith, kicked on the back pedal. It's on the line. It's there.
Actually being able to play with these guys is so much different compared to just training, and you can go through their sample edits and things like that with them, but actually being out there and seeing how they play and trying to help them on ground has been the new challenge and something I've really enjoyed.
Stay tuned because there's plenty more to come on the show, including an update from the injured skipper.
I'm just wearing a guard at the moment, so I started off in plaster, got a guard on now. Welcome back to the Optus Crows Show. I'm Mark Pickley. Fisher Mackesy had a dream start to his AFL career when he was selected to play in round 1, just 4 months after being drafted by the club. Despite initially starting in the back line, the 19-year-old is now an important marking target up forward. We had a chat to Mackesy to see what he's learnt after facing some of the best defenders in the competition.
Great crouch onto it, gets it deep. Oh, fantastic courage, Mackesy takes the mark.
It's been good to play forward. It sort of, I guess, frees you up a little bit in the sense of like to sort of launch at the footy and do those sort of things and try and kick a few goals.
We moved Fisher a few weeks ago to come as a forward. We like him as a key position player for us. Obviously he spent a lot of time in the back line pre-season and his early games, but we like what he can bring with regards to his ability in the air. That's his weapon, and so we wanted to have a look at him and see if he could supply a bit of that for us down the front.
He can pick off Mark and he can kick.
While he potentially hasn't had the impact in the games, he's certainly learnt a lot. So, one, being a defender himself early in the piece, understanding what defenders want against you, but then coming up against guys, quality guys, who play that part of the game so well, it just gives him a little insight into the movement that he has to provide as a forward, especially against those quality players.
Playing both positions I think is good for my development, especially early on, just to see the ground from both ends. It's been really good for me just learning sort of bodywork technique and defensive techniques and those sort of craft things that I've been working on at training as well, leading patterns as well, as I said before. So that's all. It's all been helpful for me because I've sort of had to learn pretty quickly and had to learn on the fly. So I'd rather learn it early than late. So I think that's been good for me. Slowly getting more comfortable at the level. Even if it doesn't sort of translate into more stats or anything, I still think I'm just learning my craft better and just feeling more comfortable out there.
You can see he's getting better every game as a forward, showing some good signs. He was really close last week to actually taking 5, 6, 7 good marks. So he'll get better and better, but there's no better way to learn.
The only place you'll find all the official Crows news is at afc.com.au. Stay connected with the club through their social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you're following @The Crows Show on Twitter so you don't miss out on any of the exclusive stories from Westlakes. Club theme songs are an iconic part of the AFL landscape. They allow players to celebrate the wins while uniting fans across the country. Adelaide's inaugural CEO had the tough task of choosing the Crows anthem that we're familiar with today. A few years ago, we had a chat to Bill Sanders to find out how the tune was brought to life. Let's take a look back at that story, thanks to Bendigo Bank.
The club song was very low on the priority, but the board, I said, look, put it to them, we were going to need to do something. So they gave me the responsibility. I thought we needed a strong music bed, strong background. So the Marines hymn by Offenbach was the one that struck me. It was in public domain, so I wrote to the US Marines in Washington, their headquarters, General someone, and got their approval. We then needed to pen some words. So one day in the boardroom, I just playing around with words, and up bobbed this, Pride of South Australia. I went to the police band and I said, look, we'd like to do this, and gave them the music bed. And we went to Channel 7 studios, got the TV people in to do it all, and got half a dozen players that looked like they were singing it. There's Rashudo, Tony Hall, Pickley. They can't sing for nuts, but it looked like they were.
Thanks, Bill. I was certainly a better footballer than a singer, that is for sure. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we catch up with Crows captain Rory Sloane.
It's horrible. Every week you sit on the sidelines.
Grassroots footy clubs are the heart and soul of local communities. But running these organisations requires time and dedication from a team of volunteer administrators who are always looking for new ways to generate an income to cover the club's running costs. One of these important initiatives has been Toyota's Good for Footy raffle.
My name's John Sumpton. I'm chairman of the West Croydon Football Club. We're a community club, very multicultural. We're in an area which quite often struggles to get players, juniors. We're a pretty small club. We've got a small group of people who battle pretty hard. As most people know, with the COVID thing going on, everything got shut down, which right at the beginning of the season, so literally we didn't get off the ground. Because you've gone through summer, basically we don't have funds. So once the season starts, we start raising funds, and because we couldn't get the game going with the barbecues and fundraising, we limited. Our treasurer, Trevor Stanbury, came across the Toyota raffle. We pretty well pushed it and it took off.
When that opportunity came up for us to raise that money, when you put prizes like that up for grabs, then it's a lot easier to sell a $5 ticket. So we worked hard to sell the tickets with such good prizes. It wasn't as hard as sometimes it would be to raise money.
Through the Toyota raffle, we actually raised $10,000. Moving forward, now we're back on footy again. It gives us the cash flow that we needed. Seeing everybody come back, people were just bursting, itching to play footy again, and the guys just want to play.
I mean, that's ultimately why we're here, is to compete and you have a beer after football. You don't have and especially just to get that back too. We didn't even have that in that time after COVID. It's been probably what saved us really. We probably would have been in a pretty big hole.
To get everybody back going again with the fundraising and the camaraderie, it's brilliant.
Well, it's been a big week at West Lakes, with the Crows playing 2 matches in the space of 5 days. Thanks to Flight Centre, let's fly around social media to see what the players have been sharing with the fans. Sloane might not have played a match since round 6, but that hasn't stopped the injured skipper from being involved in the game. Sloane continues to have a strong presence around the club and even travelled with the team to Queensland last week to provide support for his young side. We discovered how the captain has embraced his off-field leadership role.
So I got some screws put into the thumb and just wearing a guard at the moment. So I started off in plaster, got a guard on now. Still been able to do plenty of running, cross training, some restricted weights I suppose, more just one arm. I'll end up looking like Rafa Nadal soon I reckon. But it's good, that's probably the handiest thing, pardon the pun, about a broken thumb or hand is you can still do plenty of training and keep your fitness up.
Led, traps it, bananas it and kicks the goal of the afternoon.
It's pretty limited game day. You get a great appreciation for coaches and how hard it is to have a huge influence on game day because I'm not allowed in the coach's box. I was just on the sidelines, but I can come out during quarter times, half times, three-quarter times. And really it's just grabbing guys that I can pass on a bit of knowledge that works for me. So just grabbing guys individually and just passing on maybe one little key thing that might help them, whether it's Laddie just coming into midfield on the weekend and just some body position that might help him get the ball in his hands. It's horrible. Every week you sit on the sidelines. I mean, especially when the weather's been so good too. At Essendon game, 12:30, summer's out, Kangaroos on the Gold Coast, beautiful day for football. They're the ones you really miss. It's frustrating not being out there because, especially the position we're in, you want to do everything you can to help out, but it's also football too. Injury's a big part of footy. I've had an incredible run over my career, so there's always challenges that get thrown up to you and it's the way you deal with them. And these guys have been great leaders for us their whole careers. I mean, Brodie's played nearly 10 years of footy and been a phenomenally consistent footballer. And now his voice out on the ground is certainly gone to another level, and that's his growth I've seen in the last couple of years, his ability to impact guys when he doesn't have the ball, and we all know what he does with it. And Dudes is the same. Dudes plays such hard footy and the perfect team man.
Coming up, Crows coach Matthew Nicks answers a question from a fan.
Footy has certainly been a roller coaster over the past few weeks, so we scrolled through social media to find out how Crows fans have been sharing their support, all thanks to Optus.
If you can't attend a game, why not dress up your best mate and cheer on the boys from the comfort of your living room? The Gibbs family celebrated the opportunity to watch their dad in action by proudly wearing matching Guernseys. And Crows supporter Jasmine is preparing her daughter for the AFL Women's Draft in 18 years' time.
Every week on the program, senior coach Matthew Nicks answers a query from a fan thanks to Thomas Farms. Let's see who's asking the question this week.
Michael, look, we hope to see those guys at some point in the near future. At this point, we've had our back line reasonably settled. I know Hardigan came in a couple of weekends ago and he's performed really well. So what we do want to do is play those guys that are in good form. Butts is definitely knocking on the door.
That's about all from us today. Thanks for watching. You can keep up to date with all the latest Crows news at afc.com.au and by following the club on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget, the Crows take on Collingwood at Adelaide Oval on Tuesday night, and you can catch all the action right here on Channel 7. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, it's bye for now.